So I just wanted to come on and do a wee video because, again, something else I seen while I was doing my research and all these things. And it was a piece on the pain a narcissist causes you. So I would just like to read it out for anyone needing to hear it, for anyone resonating with my story, for anyone needing help out there. This is for you. So they called you the narcissist. Oh, I'm getting that a lot. That does come when you start opening your voice. But in the end, they betrayed you in the cruelest, most heartbreaking way. Even after everything they did, after everything they destroyed, after everything their presence took away, and after leaving you to pick up the pieces, somehow you became the villain in the story. They twisted the narrative, painted you with the brush they used to hide their own reflection, and left you questioning your own heart, your intuition, your worth and your sanity. And by God, I questioned everything. The gaslighting, the manipulation, the projections, the cheating, trying to say you've been split up for 5 years. You've got photos that prove otherwise, pal. More like 2, if anything. But anyway, the subtle erosion of your confidence and worth. You know in your heart when something's happening. You know, you're not daft. You've got an intuition, do you know what I mean? You've got an inkling, and yet you're told, that's not happening, we're not doing that. And then what happens 4 months later? Oh, I'm sorry, we've been doing that all along. Told ya! We're not stupid. But it hurts. It does hurt. When they've got the audacity to call you the very thing that they are, it hurts. And when you're getting called a narcissist, knowing that's not what you are. Because the thing about narcissists is, narcissists don't want to help themselves. Narcissists don't want to change. Narcissists will go to the next supply and find a supply somewhere else before they've even blown up with you. And I'm not that person, because I don't want to be that person. I do have narcissistic traits, because everybody does. However, it's how we choose to use them that matters. So I'm educating myself. I'm teaching myself ways to not emotionally react. I'm teaching myself to let them. I'm teaching myself ways to cope when I'm faced with a fucking bastard or things he's trying to throw in my way. And I'll continue to do that. But it hurts because you tried so hard to make it work. Your intentions were always honest. I mean, mine's were still honest right up to the last minute. You know what I mean? Not even 6 months before that, I'd taken them away on a nice, lovely holiday. Paid for everything. I'm still the bad one, but... The love you gave them was genuine, and everything you did it with them being the centre of your world, and that's true. You know, we might not have been in a physical relationship, but as far as I was concerned, we were still a family of every sort. I still loved him, and I thought he still loved me. How wrong was I? He never loved me. You loved deeply, you forgave over and over, even when you shouldn't have. And there was loads of red flags with me, and I stayed even when the red flags were there. You know, when you're... I'll give you an example. So there's times where, you know, you're trying to build up your sex life. You know, it's maybe gone stale. And, you know, you're trying to be better. You're trying to liven things up a bit, you know. So you might get dressed up. You know, you might put a wee nice outfit on. You know, you might do things to spice it up. You come down the stairs. You think you're looking brilliant. You know, and you think your partner's going to be all hey-ho, and you walk in the living room and they look you up and down and go, what the fuck are you doing that? All right, mate. Thanks very much. I'll know not to put it on again. Really? Yeah, really. Unfortunately. But anyway, you still hoped they would finally see things from your point of view, but instead you just took the love for granted and all they saw was a mirror. All they saw was the reflection of the pain they created staring right back at them. That's why they left. Because they couldn't stand the look of the damage they caused. They couldn't stand looking at the pain they'd caused. And what was staring back at them? Themselves. So they turned it all on you. How could someone be so hurtful to use your love, your suffering, your vulnerabilities and your pain to paint you in such a false and heinous light? And mine did. Mine used my mental health against me by trying to say that he didn't know my mental health problems. No, you've not been with me for 15 years, mate. He didn't know my mental health problems, so he didn't know what I was capable of, and he was scared and he was frightened. What? What? My mental health problems are emotional dysregulation, constant trauma, and depression. It's severe fucking depression, because I tell you, putting up with you bastards, it takes it out of you. But they'll still use it against you. They'll still paint you the bad one. They'll still say it was all your fault, you're the one that said this, and you're the one that said that. And you know, the one thing I learnt as well about narcissists and the difference between a narcissist and a man would never keep his child from his mother. And that's the main truth. That's the all is said and done. No matter what the child thought about the mum, no matter what the child thought about anybody else, no parent would keep their child away from family. Because family is all you've got at the end of the day. See, when you're down in your dumps, the only person you've got is family. See, when you're on your deathbed, the only person you've got is your family. So what happens when one person keeps that family away? Do you know what I mean? That's what they've got to think. That's what they don't think about. I could never do that. I could never, ever, ever, no matter what happened in a relationship, I could never keep my child from a parent. I would never in fact, no, I can't say I never would do that. I probably would slag the other parent, yes. I wouldn't get them involved in things that doesn't involve them. I wouldn't get them involved in things with child maintenance and finances and debts, and just because you're not fucking happy, they've got to be not happy. No, come to my home and have a loving home. Come to my home. If I've got everybody in my house that makes my home feel loved, my home is loved, I'll be happy. I'm not going to be down in the dumps because I've got everything I want. See, when you try and take my children away from me, I'll fucking fight tooth and nail. And it's painful. It really, really is painful when they try and paint you out to be the bad one. When really, they've never been a parent before in their lives. Do you know what I mean? Everyone knows it. I was the one that was always at school sports day. I was the one that was always at the rugby games. I was the one that was always at parents' evening. You never seen them anywhere near. Wee boy doesn't even know how to ride a bike. Why is that? Well, I couldn't because I was in a bad car accident. So, unfortunately, I had restricted movements. Down to him. Did he do it? Nah. Did he have the patience to do it? Nah. Used to shout and bawl at him, call him a girl. What are you doing that for? What are you crying for? Oh, shut up, you're just a girl. Truth's out. But anyway, what happened was real. And I've got the memories and I've got the trauma. You are not what they said you were. You are not a narcissist for speaking up and explaining how you felt. You are not selfish for needing your peace. You're not cold for taking a stand against their disrespect, manipulation, and finally saying enough is enough. What happened to you was real. The confusion, the guilt, the shame, the lonely nights you spent overthinking, it was all real, and none of it was your fault. And you have to realise that. It's a hard thing to come to terms with, but you do. It's not your fault. So now's the time to come home to yourself. To untangle and release yourself from the pain of the lies that you're still holding on to. To find comfort in your boundaries and learn to trust your inner voice again. Healing isn't a straight line, and it's not straightforward, and it's not an easy journey. But it's one you need to do. especially if you're co-parenting with a narcissist. You need to heal. You need to let go. You need to let them. Some days you'll grieve who you thought they were. Some days you'll even grieve who you had to become just to survive what they put you through. And that's all right. You're allowed these days. But remember this, no matter what lies they want to tell you, they'll no longer define who you are. Not with their words, not with their silence or avoidance, and certainly not with their projections. You are not who they said you were, and you never were. One day their labels won't sting. One day their absence will no longer ache. One day they'll not even exist in your thought process. And in the space of healing, you'll meet a version of yourself that you almost forgot existed, especially when you start reaching out to old friends. Childhood friends. You know, people that know the actual you and not the one you were before trauma. You'll begin to laugh without guilt, speak without fear and trust without shaking. And you'll look in the mirror and you'll finally see yourself again and the person that you really are. And not through the distorted lens of someone else's pain and projections. You weren't ever too much, and you were never the problem. You were just too bright for someone who couldn't bear their own darkness and couldn't sit with themselves for a moment and be responsible for their own healing. Because narcissists will never want to heal themselves. They'll never take accountability for what they've done. It's always somebody else's fault. And now you get to begin again. Not as who they needed you to be, but as who you were always meant to be. So for me, it's time to reclaim who I am again. And that's what I intend doing now. And if this helps anyone, I'm glad I can be of help. Until then, have a good day, fill your day with self-love, and know you're not alone. Until next time.